Hello everyone and welcome to Best PS1 Games, where, funny enough, I'm going to be talking about the best PS1 games, well, in my opinion. But before I get into that, if you want to see more fun videos with me talking about games and generally making a dick of myself playing them, then make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Now, recently I made a video about the PlayStation 5.0 update, the firmware update, and what potentially is going to be involved, most significantly the potential to play PlayStation 1 games. Now, from what I've heard, there have been leaked patch notes about the new update. It doesn't seem as though we're going to get PS1 games on PS4 for this update, which is a shame. It is a shame, but hey ho, what can you do? That's life, really, isn't it? Full of disappointments. Anyway, regardless of that, I was thinking about some games that I would like to see, or potentially, not potentially, but the games that I really enjoyed playing originally on the PlayStation 1, and I thought let's do a video about some of the best PS1 games. So here we are. So I've got 5 of them. Some will be obvious, others, well, most of them will be obvious, but we'll get into it. Right, so here we go. In at number 5, Wing Commander 4. This was a great game, Wing Commander 4. It was a space combat game, and there was a big sort of like a massive, it was kind of like a space opera, but there was like a massive storyline. It was really sort of, you had like the good, or what was perceived to be like the good sort of corporation, as it were, like the peacekeeping corporation. Then you had like the evil like raiders, and then you had people jumping sides, like the lines between good and evil were blurred, and you kind of got to the point where like, who is the bad guy and who is the good guy? What's going on here? Of course, Mark Hamill was in it, alongside people like Malcolm McDowell, John Rhys-Davies, and I think it was Tom Wilkinson, Biff from Back to the Future. Fantastic. But yeah, it was kind of done like an interactive story where like they had like actual filmed cutscenes, and you could choose like the different way you wanted the story to go. So it was a lot of fun, yeah, when it came down to it. And like the space combat was really great. I love a good space combat game, and yeah, it was a truly gripping story. I missed a lot of the story, like because it was spread over like 4 discs. I missed a lot because the copy I had. And I was at an age where it was essentially presents or hand-me-downs, so I didn't get to get another copy. Disc 3 was completely fucked, and so I missed all the story in Disc 3, so I still to this day don't know what it was all about. But it was fantastic, and I would love to see that on PS4. I'd love to be able to play that. In at number 4 is the original Tomb Raider. Wow, what a great game Tomb Raider was. The gameplay was simple. It was, you know, it wasn't too complicated, but it was fun, and that was the important part. And there were lots of puzzles that you had to solve, but they weren't sort of, it wasn't Resident Evil levels of puzzles where they weren't absolutely, what the crap am I doing? But it made you think, and on top of that, the level design was absolutely fantastic. I think it was one of the first games where like you could sort of feel like the vertigo, particularly in the like the Damocles, I think it was the Damocles level. We had like all the different rooms, but in like the central room, you had like the big sort of tower thing, and then you had like lions and shit running around the bottom. You look down and just like, oh my god, and yeah, and whenever you jumped off things, she would scream, and her scream just kept going forever until she horrifically hit the ground. That was traumatizing. But yeah, so the level design was fantastic, and it was kind of bonkers as well. You had like dinosaurs and weird like Egyptian mythological creatures, as well as just your standard like wolves and lions and velociraptors. Yeah, all standard. And of course, it introduced us to one of the most iconic characters in gaming of all time, Lara Croft. Needless to say, this is an obvious statement, but we would not have Lara Croft or anything similar if it wasn't for Tomb Raider. It was essentially Indiana Jones the game, but with Lara Croft instead of Indiana Jones, which is great because Lara Croft is brilliant. So yeah, number 4, definitely Tomb Raider. Love this game. Coming in at number 3 is Tekken 2. Now this is where I first developed my love for beat-em-ups. I never really had that before, like when you had like the likes of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and things like that. I wasn't really into it all that much, but Tekken 2, that was a game changer. A game changer. Hi-oh! I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was a massive game changer for me. I just loved playing as King and doing all these wrestling moves. Funny enough, that's probably where I developed my love of wrestling as well. So 2 birds. But yeah, it was brilliant. Like, it had all these great characters who were very varied. They had all the different move sets. Like, as I say, King. He had like all the wrestling moves. You had Yoshimitsu, who was the ninja. You had Paul. Was it Paul? Paul Phoenix, the guy with the tall blonde hair, the biker guy who was like a brawler. But he had all these fantastic characters, and it was very colourful as well, which I really liked about it. But the gameplay was just it was so the impact on all the moves was just, and the bone crunching, and oh yeah, the first time I did a full on bone crunching move on that, I was like, oh boy, yeah, it wasn't like Mortal Kombat levels of violence, but it was, the bone crunching. I can still hear it to this day. But yeah, it is definitely, I think it's probably the best of the Tekkens. It's certainly my favourite, but I think it is one of the best fighting games of all time. And I want to be able to play it again. Make it happen, Sony, for fuck's sake. What are you waiting for? Jesus Christ. At number 2, we have got Resident Evil 2. So it's 2 for 2. But that's not what 2 for 2 means, but it's fine, don't worry about it. So yeah, we have Resident Evil 2 coming off the back of, obviously, Resident Evil, the original. And the one thing I will say is it's like Terminator 2. It's the perfect sequel. It does everything right. It improves on all the best qualities of the original whilst taking things that didn't really work and just making it work. And it was horror done right, essentially. Like, you think of how to make a great horror game, or not just that, but how to tell a horror story. Look at Resident Evil 2. Like, the intensity, the atmosphere was just, it was chilling at times. Just I will never forget when you first encounter the liquor, and it's nothing but silence, and you can just hear this drip, like this constant drip, and then all of a sudden there's the liquor, and you have to fight it, and you have fuck all weapons, and it is terrifying. But then on top of that, it wasn't just like all the set pieces, all the different fighting. You had like these, I mentioned it before, these absolutely mind-bending puzzles that you really, really needed to, you need to have some lateral thinking going on, because they were quite complex. But that is what made it work. I don't think it would have worked in something that was a bit more family-friendly, like Tomb Raider, but it works here, because obviously it's for more mature audiences. Obviously they are doing the remake, or the remaster. No, I don't think it's a remaster, I think it is a straight remake. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be perfectly honest, because I think the original has a certain charm about it, and whether or not they recapture it, who knows. One thing I think they will improve on is the voice acting, but that's one of the great things about the original Resident Evil games, is the cheesy voice acting. It doesn't get any worse than the original, but it's still something great that I'd like to relive. So yeah, Resident Evil 2 at number 2. 2 for 2. And finally, coming in at number 1, it was always going to be, wasn't it? Yes, it is. It is the original Metal Gear Solid, which is, hands down, the best story ever told on the original PlayStation, and probably one of the best stories ever told in video games in general. The scope was incredible in terms of like the characters, the cinematic approach, and it was just an emotional roller coaster. It was full of ups, downs, twists, revelations. It had everything, and it had cool robots and ninjas and weird psychic telekinetic characters, which were scary, well, not scary, but a bit unnerving. It just had everything. It was the perfect game, and it kind of cemented stealth as like a legitimate, not just a way of playing, but a genre. It basically kickstarted the whole genre, which it is still the master. And of course, it also kicked off the most convoluted, batshit, balmy, crazy story ever told. But yeah, that's why it was great. It was the best. It's probably, I would say, it's the best game on the PlayStation 1. It's the best of the Metal Gear Solid games, and it is one of the best games of all time. It's one of these games that they should not remake. I know there's talk about, some people say, they should make Metal Gear, they should remake Metal Gear Solid. No, they should never touch the original Metal Gear Solid. It's an absolute gem. It's history. It basically is what it is. It's video game history. It shouldn't be tampered with, and I just want to play it again. I've said that for every single one of these games, but that's why they're on the list. That's why I've done this whole top 5 list of best games ever, because I want to play them again. I wouldn't make a list about games I don't want to play. What's the fucking point in that? Although I do like lists about shitty games. They're quite fun, but I never would actually play them. I'm getting distracted. I do this in every single video where I'm just doing a talk. I get distracted. But yeah, so there we have it. 5 games. I think that's quite a good little list, isn't it? 5 little games, not 5 little games, just 5 games from the PS1 that I would love to play again. I'd love to play them again, and I consider them to be the best PS1 games ever. Just doing a bit of Matt Hardy at the end there. That's fine. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much. Let me know in the comments what you think, what your favourite PS1 games are of all time. And yeah, we'll have a little conversation about it. Anyway, guys, I shall see you in the next one.